Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota. Today we're diving into the financial world of Everest Group Limited, and let me tell you, after looking at this report, I feel like climbing a mountain of paperwork. Get it? Everest? Okay, bad joke I know. We are going to break down their latest report, see how the company is doing, and what's in store for the future, all in plain and simple English. Before we start, if you appreciate getting straight insights from corporate documents, make sure you're subscribed. We also have a Discord community linked in the description below where you can discuss all things business and finance. So this is an 8K filing. Companies use these reports to tell investors about big changes or important events. Think of it as a quick update that's more urgent than the usual quarterly or annual reports. The date on this report is May 14, 2025. The main event here is the annual general meeting of shareholders, also known as the AGM, which happened on May 14, 2025. At this meeting, shareholders got to vote on some important company decisions. Let's see what they decided. First up, they elected the company's board of directors. These are the people who guide the company's strategy and make big decisions. The shareholders picked John Amor, William Galtney Jr., John Graff, Merrill Hartzband, John Howard, Gary LaSquadro, Hazel McNeilage, Roger Singer, and James Williamson. They'll serve for 1 year until the next annual meeting in 2026. Next, they picked KPMG as the company's independent registered public accounting firm for the year ending December 31, 2025. These guys are like the financial referees, making sure the company's books are in order. Shareholders also had a vote on the compensation, which is the pay and perks for the company's top executives. This was a non-binding advisory vote, meaning the company didn't have to follow the shareholders' wishes. But it's a good way to see what investors think about how the executives are being paid. The shareholders approved the compensation. They also approved the Everest Group Limited 2025 Employee Stock Purchase Plan. This is a way for employees to buy company stock, often at a discount. It can be a good way to motivate employees and give them a stake in the company's success. Finally, the shareholders approved some changes to the company's bylaws. These are like the company's rule book, so any changes could have an impact on how the company operates. Now, let's get into the numbers. There were over 43.7 million shares represented at the meeting, either in person or by proxy, meaning someone voted on their behalf. This gives you an idea of how many people were involved in these decisions. Let's look at the voting results for the election of directors. For John J. Amor, about 34.9 million votes were cast in favour, around 7 million votes were against, and about 16,000 people abstained, meaning they didn't vote one way or the other. Then there were around 1.7 million non-votes. These could be shares that brokers held but didn't have instructions to vote on. For James Williamson, it was 41.3 million votes for, 60,316 with 1.7 million non-votes. These could be shares that brokers held but didn't have instructions to vote on. For James Williamson, it was 41.3 million votes for 651.16 against and 549 abstaining with 1.7 million non-votes. For the appointment of KPMG as the accounting firm, a whopping 43.5 million votes were in favour, with just 157,783 against and 36,779 abstaining. Looks like everyone was on board with that choice. When it came to approving the executive compensation, about 39.4 million votes were for it, 2.4 million against, and 68,369 abstaining. Again, there were 1.7 million non-votes, so the compensation got approved, but there was some dissent. The employee stock purchase plan got a thumbs up from about 41.9 million votes, with only 72,423 against and 23,687 abstaining. Finally, the changes to the company's bylaws were approved with 41.9 million votes for, 50,002 against, and 34,684 abstaining. The report was signed off by Robert J. Frayling, the Senior Vice President and Chief Accounting Officer, dated May 16, 2025. Now, let's zoom out and look at the big picture. This 8K filing is mostly about housekeeping matters like electing directors and approving the accounting firm, but it's still important because it shows how the company is governed and what the shareholders think. The fact that the directors were elected with strong support suggests that investors are generally happy with the current leadership. The approval of the employee stock purchase plan is a good sign for employee morale and could help attract and retain talent. The vote on executive compensation is always one to watch. While it was approved, the significant number of votes against it suggests that some shareholders may have concerns about how much the top executives are being paid. This is a trend we're seeing at a lot of companies as investors are becoming more vocal about executive pay. However, keep in mind that this report doesn't give us a complete picture of the company's financial health. For that, we need to look at their quarterly or annual reports. It's also worth noting that Everest Group operates in the insurance and reinsurance industry, which can be volatile and subject to big events like natural disasters, so their performance can be affected by things outside of their control. Alright, that's our breakdown of Everest Group's latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out the Discord in the description. Thanks for watching. See you next time.